In this one, we are continuing to dive into PlayStation's massive summer PSN sale, covering deals across the US, Canada, UK, Europe, and Australia. And these, 10 of my favourites. But if you missed Wednesday's video, find that one in the pinned comments. Alright, if you do find this video useful and you enjoy reviews, deals, basically deep dives into anything PlayStation, subscribing helps a smaller channel like mine a huge amount. Right, let's get into it. Helldivers 2 is 20% off right now, matching its lowest ever price on PlayStation, and this one is co-op chaos done right. You and up to 3 others basically dropped into hostile alien worlds with one mission: spread managed democracy, and that's going to be done through overwhelming firepower. Now it is third person, it's faster and more responsive than the original, but it's still built around core settings, so think friendly fire, brutal difficulty spikes, and the kind of teamwork that either bonds friendships or completely destroys them. It's not just dumb fun either, there's proper mission variety, a smart system that lets you call in gear and vehicles mid-fight, and a galactic war effort that evolves week to week based on how the player base performs. It is tense, weirdly hilarious at times, and completely unpredictable. Even solo, it's doable, just kind of a different kind of experience. But if you've got a squad, nothing else feels quite like this one right now. Wolong Fallen Dynasty is 40% off, matching its lowest ever price on PlayStation. This is Team Ninja's take on the Souls-like formula, but it moves real bloody fast. It's set during a dark fantasy version of China's Three Kingdoms era. You play as a nameless warrior, cutting through armies and demons with acrobatic combat and a heavy focus on parrying. It's not as methodical as, say, Dark Souls. This one's more about rhythm, aggression, and the satisfaction of a well-timed deflect. What sets it apart, though, is the morale system. The more enemies you take down without dying, the stronger you get. But if you fall, that power transfers to whoever beat you. It creates this constant push-pull tension where every death shifts the balance of a fight. It is tough, but never unfair. And once the combat clicks, it is genuinely some of the most fluid in the genre. In fact, I don't think it got the attention it deserved. Stellar Blade is 25% off, matching its lowest price so far, and this one, it wears its influences proudly. It's a bit of Nier, a bit of Sekiro, and a whole lot of sci-fi spectacle. Now you play as Eve, a warrior sent from an orbital colony to reclaim a ruined Earth from monsters and scattered remnants of humanity. The story, it leans hard into melodrama, identity, memory, betrayal, but it commits to it, and the world design is tight with a smart balance between linear zones and semi-open hubs full of side quests and upgrades. That structure feeds directly then into the combat, which is the real draw here. It is fluid, it's weighty, and it's all about rhythm, dodges, parries, well-timed counters, and there's tons of flashy combos and huge boss encounters. These, they demand some real focus. You can definitely feel then the Platinum-style influence, but it also at the same time carves out its own space with a slightly slower pace, I'd say, and light RPG systems. Sonic Shadows Generations is 40% off, and this is the first time it's dropped this low. It's a 2-part package, a remaster of Sonic Generations and a brand new campaign focused entirely on Shadow. Now the core remains the same, blistering 2D and 3D levels stitched together with speed, spectacle, and some inevitable whiplash. But the Shadow content gives it more edge and variety than usual. These new stages, they lean darker, with more combat and heavier platforming that actually fits Shadow's tone. You'll still bounce between classic side-scrolling and modern boost gameplay, but yeah, the overall flow, it works. It runs really well then on PS5, and the remaster work on Generations holds up better than expected, especially the lighting tweaks and all the menus. So yeah, basically while it's not a reinvention, it feels great on PlayStation, and yeah, fans of the boost era games will get exactly what they came for. Dead Island 2 is 70% off, a massive drop and the lowest price it's in on PlayStation. This one was stuck in development limbo for years, but when it finally landed, it was surprisingly solid. You can actually find my review in the pinned comments. It is set though in a gore-soaked version of LA, or Hell A as the game calls it, and it's a first-person zombie action game that leans into absurd violence, pitch-black humour, and satisfyingly crunchy melee combat. You'll pick though from a cast of playable characters, each with their own passive perks and personality quirks, then bash your way through Beverly Hills, Venice Beach, and everything in between. The big hook here though is the flesh system, which sounds ridiculous, but it lets you carve through zombies in disturbingly detailed ways, and honestly, it never gets old. Now, it's not especially deep, the game, but it's polished, punchy, and doesn't overstay its welcome. So yeah, if you just want a big, kind of dumb, surprisingly fun zombie game that still packs a bit of a challenge, this is exactly that. Like a Dragon, Infinite Wealth is 60% off, matching at a low price we've only seen once before, and this is easily the biggest entry in the series yet. Ichiban heads to Hawaii, looking for answers about his past, but quickly ends up tangled in another messy web of rival gangs, shady schemes, and classic Yakuza-style absurdity. The tone swings wildly, from surprisingly emotional moments to fighting giant chickens in outrageous turn-based battles, and somehow yet, it all clicks together. The combat then builds on the last game's RPG foundation, but it's tighter now, animations feel punchier, the job system's deeper, and fights they move faster. There's a huge amount of content as well packed in: dungeon crawling, a resort management sim, endless minigames, and side stories with like real heart. So yeah, if you're already in on Ichiban's chaotic energy, Infinite Wealth is exactly what you want. More ambitious, funnier, and even more heartfelt than before. Indika is 40% off, matching its previous low on PlayStation, and this one's unusual in the best possible way. It's a third-person story-focused adventure where you play as a young nun who's anything but typical. They're quietly rebellious, curious, and frequently talking to a devilish figure only she can see. And all of this unfolds against a bleak, alternate 19th century Russia, blending surreal imagery with dark humour and genuine emotional weight. Now, there's no combat here. Instead, you'll spend your time exploring environments, solving puzzles, and making sense of a world that's equal parts tragedy and comedy. It takes indie risks that AAA studios simply wouldn't dare, and I think it pays off. There are moments in this game that will stick with me forever. That's how strange it gets. At just a few hours long as well, that's impressive. But yeah, it's sharp writing, excellent voice work, and just a fascinating narrative. Again, it will linger long after the credits roll. Suikoden 1 and 2 HD Remaster is 20% off, a brand new low for what are JRPG classics. Now, these two games are absolute genre-defining masterpieces, fully remastered for PlayStation. Each of them follows a sweeping, politically charged story set against the backdrop of war, betrayal, and rebellion. But the core hook here, this is what made them beloved. It's assembling your own army from over 100 recruitable characters. It is tactical, emotional, and ridiculously ambitious, even by modern standards. Now, combat then is classic turn-based stuff, fast-paced and easy to pick up. But the depth is in building your team. Who you recruit changes everything from party strategy to your home base to how the broader story unfolds. And yeah, again, it still feels brilliant all these years later. The visual overhaul then as well, I think it's well done. Sharpened pixel art, cleaner UI, and a beautifully remastered soundtrack. So maybe you missed these originally, or you just want to revisit two of the greatest RPGs ever. This, it's your chance. Space Marine 2 is 45% off, a new low for a sequel that was worth the wait. This is exactly what you want from a Warhammer 40k action game. Huge battles, overwhelming odds, and you at the center of it all as a walking tank. Now you play as Titus, back and meaner than ever. You're dropped into massive, war-torn planets just swarming with aliens. It is loud, it's brutal, and it's incredibly satisfying to play. The combat here feels real weighty and powerful. I think Gears of War-esque. Every melee though just lands hard, ranged weapons hit with real punch, and you'll constantly swap between both to control the battlefield. Missions then shift nicely between corridor brawls, large-scale sieges, and open areas full of tactical options. It just keeps the pacing nice and tight start to finish. Visually then, it nails the grim dark style of the universe with fantastic scale and detailed environments. So I'd say with this one, it's not subtle, it's not complicated, but it absolutely delivers as a power fantasy action game done right. AI Limit is 20% off, a new low on PlayStation, and one you probably haven't heard enough about. This one's an action-heavy sci-fi Souls-like set in a ruined future where AI-driven societies have collapsed, leaving behind crumbling cities, deadly machines, and surreal landscapes. You play as a cybernetic warrior, piecing together memories, hunting corrupted machines, and unraveling the mystery behind humanity's fall. Combat then, quick and flashy, with a focus on aggressive dodging, precise counters, and juggling weapon types on the fly. Difficulty spikes here, admittedly, can feel uneven at times, but the satisfying core makes it easy to overlook those occasional shortcomings. Boss fights in particular are highlights. They're really big, creative, and genuinely challenging. The atmosphere then finally helps it stand out too. Neon lit ruins, moody synth scores, and a world dripping with cyberpunk energy. It all adds up to something quite memorable. It's not perfect, but if you are craving a sci-fi spin on the Souls-like formula, I think this one's a hidden gem. It kind of released and disappeared almost immediately. And that is the video down. What will you be adding to the library this week? Let me know in the comments. Now, if you did enjoy this one, do me a favor, subscribe. As I said, channel like mine, it helps out a huge amount. And I'll see you on the next one. Cheers all.